All right, thank you. Thanks to Sages for the opportunity to present. I was asked to give this talk on why surgeons should engage in social media, and when they asked me to do it, I kind of thought, like, I don't know, I'm not sure that I'm the best person to give this talk. And then as I started going through the material and thinking about how I utilize social media, I realized that, like, I'm not going to be good at it, but I'm better than some. Oh, let's go back to my slide there. It will not stay on that slide. Can you guys advance one for me? Thank you. I have disclosures. I think the most relevant one is the fact that I have a financial interest in IHC, the company that sort of runs the International Hernia Collaboration website. So me on social media, I have a LinkedIn account that says that I am a fellow at Case Western. I have a YouTube account that has 13 subscribers. You can find me on Facebook, but it's a locked profile and it doesn't look like me. But I do use that a lot for, guys, this is advancing 2 every single time. I do spend a lot of time on the International Hernia Collaboration, where you guys can find me for things. And I actually, again, it's advancing 2 every time. It's gonna really be a problem if it keeps doing that. I also do run this Sages Flexendo account, and then you can find me on Twitter as well with the nebulous bio of I fix holes in things. Occasionally I make them. And so that's part of why I thought that I might not be the best person to give this talk, because I don't have a very big digital footprint. I don't have 30,000 followers on any of my accounts. But I thought that we could spend some time today talking about why I do what I do on social media and where I think surgeons can have an impact. I also thought that, given that we were in a pandemic here, it might be useful to talk a little bit about social media and how it's grown during that time frame. We'll outline maybe reasons why you, a surgeon, should, and maybe some reasons you should not engage in social media. And I'm going to do that by kind of giving some real-life examples of things that I've done with my own social media experience. Can you guys go back a slide? Is there another clicker we can use? Could I mean, I get paid to work with my hands. I'm reasonably gentle with tissues. Can we go back? Can we go back one slide? There. Can we go forward, please? Perfect. Awesome. Great. So if you look at the percentage of people who are actively using social media on a daily basis, this is where they spend their time and how often they're using various platforms. Interestingly enough, this slide of TikTok, which is less than a year old, is now dramatically different. People spend a large amount of time on websites that are primarily video-based. So if you look at TikTok, at YouTube, and Facebook, those primary interests there are based on video engagement. Interestingly enough, the average person spends a lot less time on Twitter, but I think that that's because they pop in and they pop out very quickly, as opposed to sitting and spending time watching a full video the entire time. So what's happened on social media during the pandemic? Well, a few things. People downloading social media apps, the use of social media apps grew 4% from January to June early in the pandemic, and that was greater than any other app category. TikTok, which only had 28 million users in January of 2020, presently has almost 600 million users, and so it grew dramatically. In my household, there are 2 new TikTok users in that time frame. And Americans now spend an extra 7 minutes online daily. A lot of that obviously is the use of telecommunication, but that jump to additional online time is bigger than any other year prior. And now 50% of adults, when surveyed, say that they use social media more than ever. So recognizing that the average person in the last year is using social media and the internet a lot more, why should you as a surgeon do this? And we'll kind of highlight maybe 4 areas here: practice building, education, training and skill acquisition, and maybe some patient management stuff. In terms of building a practice, you know, it was, I think, Shirin Taufi who called me out one time for having a really poor online presence for patients. The bottom line is you're going to be a brand no matter what. You are listed online in databases of surgeons, and patients can search for you. And it's a matter of whether you're going to control that brand or not. And so I put this up here. This is healthgrades.com, and I have 38 ratings, and I'm a 5-star surgeon. And I put this up because 4 years ago, before Shirin called me out, I had 0 stars, and she said, Eric, you know, this is a great example. Why are you not engaging and taking control of this account? And I got those 38-star ratings by simply giving patients who commented that they were happy with the care that they got this little card. I actually had them printed, and I hand it to people, and I just say, hey, listen, fill out the satisfaction survey, because our hospital lists those satisfaction surveys online. Go to healthgrades.com and fill out a survey. And so why is that helpful? Well, because I have, 37 5-star ratings and 1 1-star rating. The 1-star guy said that I am rude and hostile. I have no decency, dignity, discipline, or respect. And so if someone reads that, they might go like, this guy sounds terrible. But if you look at the other counteracting ratings, which my patients have put in there, those are all pretty good ratings. And so again, taking control of that presence is very helpful. Patients look you up ahead of time. In a survey of 800 people about online reputations, 3/4 of them had looked up doctors, dentists, or other medical professionals. And so they're going to look you up. A lot of them said that positive online reputation was extremely important, especially in a healthcare provider. I think we all know that being skilled at social media does not automatically make you a skilled surgeon. But there's something to be said about building your social media presence and involvement with the community, interacting online, interacting with patients and forums shows patients that you are dedicated to your craft. I think also that we owe it to our patients to help fight misinformation. There's obviously a world of medical misinformation out there. And if you hide in your office and wait for them to show up well armed with that misinformation, you're going to spend a lot of time counteracting that. And so I think that this, for me anyway, is a natural extension of my role as a surgeon and a patient advocate to help improve what patients know about their disease and their disease state. And some of the best people that I interact with on social media do that on a regular basis. There's obviously a great way to publicize your academic endeavors. You can, if you have research that is not getting put out there that you think is high quality, this is a great way to promote yourself. A lot of this never reaches the lay public, and I've found that by sort of doing a little bit of shameless self-promotion with your research, people will engage with you. You'll find other people who have similar interests. You can also find story reporters and editors who then contact you and say, hey, I saw your post, I have an interest in this topic, can I talk with you about it? And so, these are all areas where I've been tagged and used in that regard. In terms of education, video-based platforms have really revolutionized a lot of what we do as surgeons. As a hernia surgeon, in living in a world of rapid evolution in hernia care, I have learned and seen and reviewed a lot of online videos about novel techniques. I actually spend a lot of time putting some of those techniques out there if there are things that I know, and I spend a lot of time teaching people how to read CT scans online. And so using that video-based format that people really invest and spend time in is very helpful. I'll skip over quarantine surgical education other than to say that we did launch a Twitter feed and a YouTube page specifically for resident education early in the pandemic when classes were all shut down. Medical students and residents had lost their opportunities for in-person education, and we basically had a national clearinghouse for them to basically engage with. If you have new skills or new techniques or new things that you want to publicize, you can do that really quickly. This is a new device called an X-Tack, which I was using to close this spontaneous esophageal perforation, and the suture on the device broke. And I had no idea how to remove those tacks, and I wanted them out to redo the procedure. And so I said, hey, I think I can do this with this other device, and it worked really well. And so I said, somebody else is going to have this problem, and I'm going to put it up there later on that night. So I put it up, and I tagged the manufacturers, and the next day I had emails from both of them saying, you did what? Tell us a little more about that so that we can teach other people if they have that same problem. I think you can attract better trainees as well, and obviously residency programs that have these online social media accounts do a really good job publicizing their success. So this is us saying we're excited to have University of Wisconsin's fellow match with us. This is from earlier in this meeting. I had a brand new R1 do his very first national presentation, and he just crushed it. It was like a great moment, so I was really proud. But that gives me the opportunity to brag about what residents in our program do, and as we approach interview season here, I think that it allows you to highlight the unique opportunities of your program, the people, the things that you guys do well as a program. I've obviously maintained and made a lot of contacts through these things. I've made a lot of industry contacts as well. I'll actually highlight this from August 1st. I commented on a post about the length of colon segments. I'm very snarky online. It's mostly sarcasm, and I was basically just saying that, like, these links make no sense to me. It's clearly by someone who's not done a colonoscopy before, and Travis says, well, tell me why, and Travis wants to know more and more and more. And finally, Travis says, I've got a few questions about if you're doing this, and I said, I would be happy to talk with you about a consulting agreement. Again, it was a little bit of snark, and Travis then DM'd me and said, I work for a company, and I would like to do some consulting work with you. And so, again, you can make and meet connections just by engaging. Finally, I'll end with patient care. I think that if you are a person who is the local expert, if you are in a place with limited resources, or you have an emergency, or are just in a small practice and don't have somebody to talk to, online posts can be a great way to get the opinion of other experts to look at something. And so here's just give me some thoughts on this case. It's also helpful, and we've seen a lot of posts about bariatric patients moving, about hernia patients moving, to say, hey, I got a patient moving to this location, who should I call? And again, like, I put this post up, I got a guy moving to Denver 3 weeks after I do a surgery, where should we go? And we got the same name from 2 people, right? And I think that says a lot. You can also have a lot of fun. I mean, I post a lot of nonsense stuff. I try to have fun medically, and so I think that this is a way to engage people and kind of put your personality out there. I would not participate in social media for likes. This is addictive, and there's this reward pathway. You think of something funny, you put it out there, you get likes and retweets, and that gives you dopamine in the brain. Every time you feel that phone vibrate, every time you look at that post, every time you see the retweet. And the more you do it, the more that behavior gets reinforced. And I think we all know surgeons who view their relevance in the world by how many impressions and tweets and followers they have. And it can be a real problem if that's your main reason to do it. The same thing happens if you are an online troll. You tweet something that you see it makes you angry, you retweet, you feel really good, I got that person. Then you get likes and retweets, and it's the same thing, and then suddenly you're going down that pathway. So I'll conclude, social media obviously continues to grow as a means of communication, not just among surgeons, and we have a role in that community, and I think that we have an ability to craft your online personality for a wide variety of ways, but obviously caveat emptor when it comes to some of these things. Thank you.